Hi everyone, this is Jim Busch, class of 1976 Howland High School, class of 69-70 Howland Little Tigers. I want to say a few words about two legendary Ohio coaches, Joe and George Kearney, and of course, the original coaches of the Howland Little Tigers. Coach Joe and Coach George have had a positive effect on so many young men in Northeast Ohio. They taught us so much about football and maybe even more about life. I have two stories to share. Um, the first one is from our very first scrimmage of the Howland Little Tigers. Most of us had never played organized football before. I hadn't. In fact, as I was starting with the Howland Little Tigers, I was coming off a period where when I was very young, I was not a good athlete. Okay. I had tried out for the local swim team. I wasn't very good because I couldn't keep my eyes open underwater, so I always got hung up on the ropes on the side. So that was kind of a losing proposition. Um, Second, I tried out for the basketball team at our grade school. Didn't even make that, got cut from the team. That was when you actually were cut from teams, not like in today's world. Third thing, my folks had me try out for the UCT T-ball team, gadget ball, and didn't get cut. I was on the team, but I was the worst player on the team. They always put me out in right field. They called me Charlie Brown, and they used to put me out in right field, hoping no one would hit me the ball. And that was a miserable situation. By the middle of the second year, I sat on the bench all the time, and my folks finally let me quit. So, bad situation for me in swimming, basketball, the T-ball team. So, I believe I was going to Blessed Sacrament School, and so posting for the Howland Little Tigers tryouts. And I told my folks I'm going to try out. My dad was excited because my father, Joe, big football fan, big Chicago Bear fan, and he was excited. But my mom said, that's not going to happen. You're probably going to quit that. Not a lot of positive reinforcement. But I tried out, and first week or two, if I remember, we just practiced in shorts and helmets, and they put me at center. Not sure why, but I was. They put me at center. So we finally get our equipment in. And the great thing about Howland did have money, and we got these beautiful uniforms, and this is real live football. So on our very first scrimmage, I'm at center, and it's our very first play, and call the play. It's some kind of running play, and I hike the ball. I go out to hit the middle linebacker, and it just so happens, and I don't remember who the middle linebacker was. Might have been Bill Beer. I don't remember. But someone landed in the back of the middle linebacker's legs. So I go out to hit him, and of course he falls over backwards, and I pancake him. A lucky block, but whatever. So I make this block that looks like something right out of a highlight reel. The two Kearney brothers, Joe and George, come running out. They pick me up. I'm maybe 100 pounds soaking wet. They pick me up and they say, Bush, that's the best blah, blah, blah block we have ever seen in our life. That is fantastic. I had never received any positive reinforcement like that before, especially with sports. And I thought to myself, this is a sport I can do. All you have to do is remember the snap count and go across the line and hit somebody. And from that point on, the Little Tigers, it went on from there. But shortly thereafter, the second story I have to share is our very first game against the McDonald Midgets, where we played them on the junior high school field in Howland. And we were, believe it or not, even though this is our first team, Howland's never had a little league football team, and McDonald's had one for quite a while. But we were favored to win the game. We were just bigger, stronger. So a lot of people thought we were still going to win the game, even though we'd never played a live football game in this league before. And as I mentioned, McDonald had a team for quite some time. So wouldn't you know, halftime comes, we're losing 6-0, and we go to the locker room, and the junior high locker room, and the coaches are just livid. Coach Joe, Coach George, Coach Morris, they're just screaming up and down at us, and we're these little guys like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? We're supposed to be winning this game. We're losing 6-0. And so we're finally getting ready to go back out after halftime. And one of the coaches, it was either Coach George or Coach Morris, um, asked Coach Joe for his watch. And Coach Joe takes the watch off his wrist, hands it over, and I believe it was Coach George takes the watch, throws it on the ground of the dressing room, the floor of the dressing room, and smashes it. And boy, did that shake us up. And it was here again. It was either Coach George or Coach Morris that said, "This is what people are going to think of you if we lose this game." So everybody files out. I'm the last one to leave the locker room, and Coach Joe is right next to me. And he looks over at me and he just gives me this smile and he says, "You know, somebody owes me a new watch." And it just it just cracked me up. I mean, that was Coach Joe. He could be so serious, but he had a great sense of humor, a lot of great life stories, and of course, we went out and we beat McDonald and beat them 16-6. I think that was the score, and ended up 8-2 that year. Went to the championship game. We didn't win the championship game against the dreaded Raiders, but the first two seasons we went 8-2, and it was a lot of fun. And one time they told me if I keep blocking like that, I'll make the All-Star team, and I did make the All-Star team as a center, I believe. I don't remember what happened the second year, but and hats off to the fourth year team that went undefeated, and if I remember correctly, undefeated and unscored upon. Amazing. So anyway, I'm going to end right here. I know this is a little bit long, but I just want to tip my hat to Coach Joe and Coach George, legends. Just absolutely. So many great times, both on and off the field. All the parties they threw for the guys, they were always there for us, even when we went into high school. Just so many great memories. So anyway, God bless. May God, Joe, rest in peace, and God bless Coach George as well. Take care. Bye bye.